Hey everyone, welcome back. It's Richard and Pete. Walk about, talk about. Oh, today is, I believe, the 17th. Don't mark me on that because sometimes I get lost in time. That's a good thing, especially when all your bills are automatically paid, right? Anyways, had to be funny there. Walk about, talk about here. Richard and Pete. Today's very interesting. What happened today, Thursday, right? So the buzz is that thing that's really sticking in my craw. The buzz is, very first thing, is that Trump's calling everybody that's wants to know what the hell's going on with these Epstein files lists. He says, you guys are a bunch of stupid people. Stupid people. You know, I can go definitely different ways here. You know, but an interesting thing. Bring up a point here. Way back in the day, I knew a pretty good dude, right? Worked with him. And how I met him was through the ministry that I used to volunteer in. And he had gotten out of prison, and part of his parole was to, you know, do voluntary service. Well, and of course, our ministry came up on that. So we actually had a lot of people that came through and did voluntary, you know, oh, what the hell is it called? I don't know, civil service. I can't remember the name. Hey, put it in the chat if you remember it. But needless to say, you know, he's a pretty good guy. He served. I knew him for a very long time. Of course, you know, as time goes on, part ways, and I've lost touch with him, but when he was released from prison, the reason he was in prison wasn't that, you know, he robbed a bank or shot someone or blah, 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 blah. According to what he told me, that he was 1 year older than the girlfriend that he had, you know, as we all were teenagers, you know, probably fooled around with, right? We're all teenagers, right? But he was 1 year older than her in the state that they lived in that, you know, made that a statutory issue. Guy goes, does his time, right? No big deal, right? Cool. Gets out, parole. Guy's a pretty nice guy. But, you know, we're stupid Americans, huh? And I think the thing that we Americans notice is that if you're not over a certain level, well, you know, you pay the highest penalty. But if you're over a certain level, for some reason, get away with it, you know. And in one of my previous videos back, I was talking about how God our Father, the creator of everything that freaking exists, ordains every kingdom for its season to rule the earth based on his purposes. And at the time, the ruling kingdom is the Bill of Rights and Declaration of Independence, the Constitution of the United States of America. As Jesus would say, love thy neighbor as thyself, right? Now, there's been some amendments to it. Oh, after our, founding fathers had done the original document. But hey, you know, that's a different discussion. But the basis of that document is that document makes all men equal under the law if you claim to be an American citizen and abide by, well, the way Americans should live in America, right? American citizen, born here, raised here, ancestors, all that, right? So, at the end of the day, if God set up the country and everyone is always one nation under God, okay, cool. But what's the ruling? What did God give us as our supreme, ultimate, at the end of the day? This is what rules man. What is it? It's definitely not Congress, and it's freaking not the House. It's not your local governments. All authority comes from Jesus Christ, and all authority in this government comes from our Constitution, Bill of Rights. And as long as, you abide by that, everyone's good. But if you want to go against that, you should fear the authorities of that rulership, because at the end of the day, especially for us Christians, as Scripture teaches us, if you live according to the rules of the land, you don't have to have no fear, and you bring honor to our Father. He's the one who ordained the kingdom, and we don't have to worry about the hammer coming down on us, right? And I know all of us watching this channel, 99% of us, what we basically do every morning is we get up and just try and make a living for us and our family, right? That's it. Well, the same boat, paddling, pushing that oar, trying to make it to the end, right? So, seems like when you cross a certain line, all of a sudden, I remember, what's her name? Pelosi. She said once to a bunch of kids, I am not going to listen to you guys. You have nothing to bribe me with. I'm paraphrasing it, but it was a pretty rude recording broadcast I saw with these kids asking her about, this global warming stuff. But she's like, no, I'm not going to do about it because you kids, you don't contribute anything to our party. So unless you contribute something, I don't want nothing to do with you. Right? Kids were upset, but hey, there you go, right? So, My main reason that I was talking about this with a fella from work, really good guy. Like me and everyone else that works at this company, we bust our humps. You know, we earn our money. And we're professionals at what we do. It's like, what I'm upset about is, he's upset about is the fact that when we do that, well, we're hung, and a certain class gets away with it, and then if, and the big stinker of the whole freaking thing, if our entire government, or a good majority of them, have somehow been compromised, then what does that mean for we the people who they're supposed to work for? So, like I mentioned in my previous videos, if they're compromised by foreign government and they're not representing us, what's the outcome for us in the end? What does that mean for us? Mentioned in my last video, you know, if we have an issue, and we know many of them right now, you and I and everyone can think of issues now that have come up inside of our government based on our request, what the heck's going on, and they debate that shit back and forth, back and forth. And at the end of the day, they say it's their fault and it's their fault. But when a foreign leader comes to our country and starts chatting with our elected officials who are supposed to serve us, when, of all times, our sitting president is kind of down and out, and he asks for A, B, C, D, and E, and let me tell you, what he asked for is far more. It's far more. Different than what we asked for as, well, hey, this is our continent. You're our government. We elected you to serve us. So, like I said, a foreign national comes here, addresses our Congress, where usually our president would be up there, Speaker of the House, whatever, and says, hey, I need this. And they're like, the entire fucking place jumps up and salutes and claps their asses off and hoo-ha's. Not a dumb shit. I'm not stupid, Trump. Don't insult us, we the people. When you ran, you said X, Y, and Z, and we know you've inherited a shit, because, in my personal opinion, I know what the fuck's been going on, as long as anybody else. Don't call us stupid. So, everyone, what do you think? Chime with them little comments there on that. That's pretty good. Enough spiff, but at the end of the day, I have a really bad feeling about this.